it's Tina and I am back and I'm here yet again with another swatch video for you guys. This time featuring the MAC foiled eyeshadows. Not to be confused with the Makeup Geek foiled eyeshadows. These are the MAC foiled eyeshadows that debuted with the Fairy Whispers collection a little bit later last year. So I think it was in the fall time in 2015 that they released these. But these are still available on the MAC website as well as in Nordstrom's, Macy's, Bloomingdale's, anywhere that has that MAC counter. You can go ahead and pick these up, and there are 8 shades available, and these retail for $20 and they contain 0.1 ounce of product. So these are the larger sized eyeshadow pans that you typically see from MAC in their pressed pigments and various other large size eyeshadows when they have them available. So you are getting a lot of product for the price. They did have a couple of like the pressed pigments that were in the smaller pans that were still $20. So I'm happy that they did release them with a lot of product in the larger size pan, so you're getting value for your money here. So the formula is a different formula for MAC. It is kind of a more finely milled version of the pressed pigments from MAC or the Dazzle shadows. Both of them I've done swatches of, so you can check those out. But this is more of a finely milled formula, and the MAC website says, eyes light up with luminous shades of foiled shadow. The lightweight formula has a highly pigmented color payoff with wet dry technology to choose either a dry shimmer metallic finish or an intense wet metal foil finish. The results last all day and all night. Shadows feature an embossed design. It says too, the claims, it can be used dry and wet, like it says, water resistant, long wearing, ophthalmologist tested, dermatologist tested. So the usage says to apply to the lid using fingers, brush, or a sponge. Alright, so not to beat a dead horse or anything, but you can use these wet or dry, and using it wet will give you a higher shine metallic finish, and using it dry will give you a little bit more subtle color payoff. Now we're gonna jump into the swatches of these. Like I said, there are 8 shades and I have all 8. So you're gonna see the colors, see them next to each other to determine which ones, if any, of these you wish to pick up. So let's quickly go ahead and take a look at the packaging of these eyeshadows. As I mentioned before, these are packaged in the larger eyeshadow pans from MAC, which are the typical all black plastic packaging with a see-through lid with the MAC logo on the front, and then on the back you have a label with the eyeshadow name. The eyeshadows themselves have this embossed, I would say earthy nature design. I'm going to go ahead and do the swatches now on my arm over a light layer of eyeshadow primer, and I'm swatching using the Kat Von D Shade and Light eyeshadow brush. So the first shade we're going to start out with is Sweet Illusion, which is described as a light color neutral. And this one is a very shimmery, very icy, almost pale silvery champagne shade. It is really pigmented, as you can see. It takes 2 layers to get full pigmentation. The next shade is Fly By Night, which is described as a twilight taupe. And this shade to me is more of a dirty silver shade, hence the taupe. Taupe is more of a mix of gold and silver, and that's what this looks like. It looks like a golden gray tone silver. The next shade we have is Fairyland, which is described as a warm champagne. And this one is a yellow toned, very light, icy champagne shade. It's really beautiful for neutral looks. Next we have Joy Toy, which is described as a pink copper. And this one to me is more of a rose gold shade. It is definitely a gold, but it has a rosy, peachy undertone. It's a really gorgeous shade, and I think this one is better suited for darker skin than the other light shades. Next we have the shade Enchanted Forest, which is described as a warm, rich brown. And this one is a golden, dirty brown shade. It is again better suited for darker skin tones than the other shades, and if you want more of a deeper wearable everyday look, that's a great one. Then we have Faerie Fayre, which is described as a mid-tone peached terracotta, and this one has more of an orangey tone to it. It's a orangey copper shade, again a beautiful shade for everyday looks. Then we have the shade Feminine Wiles, which is described as a light pearly pink. This one is a very pale, icy, almost pink champagne shade. It's a very, very light pink shade. So if you're into rosy pinks, this is a good shade. But
For darker skin, it may come off a little bit too icy. And then we have the shade Magic in Your Eyes, which is described as a soft lilac. And this is the deepest shade of the bunch. It's a dark kind of dirty purple shade with silver sparkle. It's really beautiful for smoky looks. So here you have a look at all 8 shades, and you will see that a lot of the shades look very similar, especially the first 3 shades here, but they have subtle nuances and different undertones. So depending on what you're going for, you would choose a color based on that. As you can see in the deeper shades, you see a definite difference in color, so it depends on what you're going for, but I think you can't go wrong with at least one of these shades.
So hopefully those swatches were helpful for you guys. Overall, I really like the formula. I think it is a great way to incorporate this high metallic sheen and this glittery look to your eyes without being too overwhelming. And the dazzle shadows and the pressed pigments can sometimes come off a little bit too chunky. You do need a stickier primer such as a glitter glue to really have them stick to the lids without creating fallout. With these, the formula is so finely milled that the glitter is a micro fine glitter, and it adheres to the skin really well without the help of like an extra primer. Like this just works well with a regular primer, and you can get better color payoff, of course, by using your finger or using them wet, but they apply really nicely with a brush as well. Just a stiff, dense brush, either synthetic or natural hair. I prefer synthetic, but they work really well and I really like them. The shades, I wouldn't say you need all the shades because they cross over enough that the color differentiation is not that significant. So you can pretty much get away with picking 1 or 2 of the shades that really appeal to you. But I definitely recommend at least checking one of these out before they go into the discontinued pile from MAC. So hopefully this video was helpful for you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!